Hello, hello, Fabiola. Welcome to the third episode of the Yolo Uncovered podcast that we are running here with the Yolo portfolio companies. How are you doing today?
Hello, Pierre. Thanks for having me. I'm doing great. Thank you. It's going to be a pleasure to talk about Caleta and about our journey.
Absolutely. And it's been great, first of all, to get to know you over the last 1.5, 2 years or so that since we met the first time. And I wanted to ask you, in the research for this episode, I took note that it's almost exactly 10 years ago that you founded Caleta Gaming. And so I wanted to start today by asking, why did you decide to start a game studio in the first place?
That's a very good question. So around 13 years ago, I met Paulo, my co-partner, and we met while working together on a development team of a gaming company. We were both game developers. Then I became a math developer, and my task at that time was to create math models for casino games. And Paulo was a game developer taking care of all the front end development. So we used to work very closely together to reach the expected results that a math model requires. And we also realized that we had a similar profile. I was working very hard, like workaholics, trying to find solutions to problems, etc. We both also love the gaming industry. I was a poker player, not a professional one.
All right.
So we saw big potential in this market and decided to set up our business.
That's fantastic. So, I mean, so again, it's 10 years ago that you founded the company, and I can see behind you here, there's kind of like the 10 years in
Yeah.
summary, basically, of all the games that you managed to produce. But I would be really interesting to kind of understand better the journey that you've had through these 10 years. I would imagine that you've had some pretty big challenges along the way. And, was there ever moments where maybe you didn't think you were going to make it even?
Yes, I can say it's as exciting as a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
There are ups and downs, but above all, there's a lot of learning. And when we created Caleta about 10 years ago, I remember we got a project about to make a social casino, and we were about only 4 people. So we didn't have the resource to hire more people. And we had to do a bit of everything, tasks we knew, in my case, the math models, game development, tests, etc. And also tasks we didn't know, such as business management, financial, commercial, sales, marketing, etc. And yeah, it was challenging, but I believe this is one of the reasons why today we have a very efficient and effective team here at Caleta. Because me and Paolo, as founders, we fro- since we had all this background and faced a lot of challenges, we know not exactly, but we know most what needs to be done and improve it on each area of the company.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, speaking about, being a founder of a company, as a founder myself is something I think a lot about. But like, what do you feel are the most important attributes of a founder? Because a lot of people, they have ideas. I think everyone is walking around with like really great ideas, but it's
Mhm.
some people, they are able to take those ideas and actually action them and make them into reality. So I just want to ask you, like what do you feel are the most important attributes to become a founder of a company?
Uh, there are some, but I would say stay humble always. Someone in the world has probably gone similar or the same problems you are going through. So try to learn as much as you can from these people. Also, be a good communicator. You know much better than me well, how important is it. But be clear and objective with what you will communicate to your team, to the investors, clients, press, etc. Make sure everyone is on the same page. Um, Another point that I believe is very important is keep learning and update it. As a founder, I mean, you must keep learning all the time, not only about the new technologies, but about everything in the market. Uh, Things are changing very fast, and so what is changing on the industry, on the economy? We have clients worldwide, so it's crucial we keep updated about everything all the time. Be an inspiring leader, or at least try to be. you need to be able to execute tasks and multitask, as I already mentioned in the beginning. But also, when is the right time and how will you delegate tasks? It's essential to learn how to optimize your time with what really, really matters on the company. Because there are many distractions these days, and so don't waste your time with silly things. And very important, believe on your ideas. Be determined and persistent to achieve your goals and believe on your dreams. That's I think is very important. And also, how can you learn to develop skills you don't have? Leadership, public speaking. I'm here speaking, but I'm not as good as you on this, but I'm learning. So how to deal with people, how to find investor and convince them to invest in your business. Yeah, there's always a challenge ahead.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
and I think those are fantastic points. And one of the points you mentioned here is like the importance of delegation. And we founded our company almost exactly 10 years ago to the day as well. We maybe even founded our both companies more or less the
Same
same day
time.
almost. But I think as a founder, you come in with this like big ideas and big ambitions, and you want to kind of change the world, and you have all these ideas in your head, how you want your product to look like. And so I think what is difficult oftentimes for founders is to actually be brave enough to delegate those type of
Yeah.
tasks. And it's certainly something that I learned through my journey. Is like I was
Yeah.
like really protective over my projects the first couple of years, but then you realize that like I mean it's not sustainable when you grow a company, right? Did you feel that as well when you started a company? Like did you go through this like difficulty of delegating tasks as well?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Growing up is very exciting, but it's challenging. I mean, there is pain on the growing path. And yes, you're right. Because I mean, as a startup, if you are not growing, you are dying. But at the same time, you grows, you have to delegate and make sure you are going to be focused on what really matters at that time. So and it's difficult. How do you keep innovating and hiring good people and keeping the talents and the talent you have, the people you have. So yeah, I mean, and also as you grow, the decision making it becomes more complex. So it can impact people, suppliers, etc. Here at Caleta we have a roadmap, but everyone is aware it might change, and everything changed very very fast in the startups environment, and some people they are not familiar with startups environment, and they may think that the founders are crazy. I'm not saying we are not, but
Exactly, I
I
was
mean,
gonna say the same thing.
yeah, we are a bit, but not always. But I mean, how you have to make it clear to everyone that strategies may change along the way, and to ensure this the speed. The founders need to have a good management control and constantly evaluate and define goals and redefine the routes if necessary to improve the results. So, yes, basically, delegate is a part of growing.
Absolutely. If you're not growing, you're dying. I like that quote. And
Yes.
I spoke to someone the other week, and we talked about this attributes to a founder as well. And one of the most important attributes I think is that you have to be a bit crazy actually, because
Yeah.
to even start a company and to even consider to go on this journey, you have to be blind to all the challenges and all the difficulties that are ahead of you, I think.
Yeah, yeah, and even when you find the right people to replace you to do the tasks that you used to be doing, I mean, the founders need the intelligence to make the best decisions and to take the business to the next level,
Yeah.
right? Based on data, on information. So yes,
Yeah.
there's always a challenge ahead.
For sure. So fast forward to 2018, and this is where you got your investment from Yolo Group, which is also the lead investor in Agami Next here. What was your experience when you were seeking investment, and why did you decide to bring on Yolo?
Yeah, very good question. During 2018 and 17, some companies were interested in investing in Caleta. Some of them wanted to acquire 100% of the company. And I remember I spent much of my time in such exhausting due diligence process. And with YOLO, it was completely different. Trust me. Everything flowed in a very cool, enjoyable, and fast way. So we realized that our expectations and culture were aligned, and both sides really wanted to make it happen. So, and also we knew that it was not the time to make an exit, but it was the time to bring investors with industry know-how, focus on innovation, good networking, and not only money. So I can say that the smart money was the key point here. It was for sure the right decision. You know, Tim, Julian, they are brilliant minds. And not only then, but the YOLO ecosystem is also brilliant. We are very, very proud to be part of it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and also, I can say that as soon as YOLO invested in Caleta, we transitioned from being a company making slots
Yeah.
games on contract to a full studio supplying the industry. So we completely changed our business model. I can say there is Caleta before YOLO and after YOLO, and the after is much more exciting.
That's exactly it. So can you go more into detail with that? Like when you brought YOLO on board, as an investor, what did they contribute with to Caleta?
Yes, like I just mentioned,
Yeah.
they being part of the ecosystem is amazing. Yeah, but you guys are part of this as well.
Yep.
So having a lot of people with a good know-how about the market, with a good networking around, and that's all about the smart money. Maybe I mean there are some other game providers in the ecosystem, and we may go and speak with them. Have you ever faced this challenge? In how did you manage, etc. So it's good. We are a family and we
Yeah.
assist each other.
Absolutely. I
We are not competing. We are a family.
Absolutely. I think that's a good takeaway in general from the ecosystem within YOLO. It's like there's like a pride within the group of being part of it and helping each other, and that's obviously what
Yeah.
YOLO is trying to create as well. Just on your point, you mentioned the discussions with Tim in 2018 and with YOLO that were much smoother. I can say in our case, when we started to speak to Tim and to YOLO Group, it was a very very quick process. It was something like,
Mhm.
okay, we are seeking investment, and we got introduced to Tim. We had one call, and then Tim was driving from Tallinn to, I think it was Kiev. He was driving to at that time, and during his trip, he listened to all the podcasts. And when he
Uh-huh.
arrived in Kiev, he basically phoned us up, and he's like, "Yep, love the podcast. You guys are great stuff. Let's just make it happen." And that was it, more or less.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
and it worked
Which
out.
is good because yeah, I mean we came from a 6 months due diligence with another company, and then when we realized no, it's not what we want. Is I
Yeah.
mean we want to keep our culture, etc. And YOLO is amazing.
Absolutely. So I have a question just, Fabiola, about kind of the USPs with Caleta. It's not a secret that within the iGaming industry, there are now hundreds of game developers that are producing thousands of games, literally,
Yeah.
every quarter, more or less. And so, in kind of a sea of games and a sea of game developers, what makes you different? What's your USPs?
Yeah, there are big fish out there, right?
Yeah.
So, um, as you know, the LatAm market is very hot right now. And here at Caleta, we have LatAm focused content and some know-how about the market as well. So when we mention we are based in Brazil, everyone gets really excited. So I can say that geographically we are very well positioned. And another advantage that I believe we have is we are a small team, but we have a large portfolio, as you can see here, and this draws a lot of attention because it shows not only the diversity we have of the products, but also the efficiency and agility in developing games. We can turn ideas into games in a very agile way, and the fact that we do not outsource any game development stage is a very positive point as well. What I mean is we have the full technological domain here in house, and I can see some game providers they do differently. But for us, is very easy. If someone come with idea, let's create this. We can assist very quickly.
And, and, what,
And
and what would you say,
yeah.
Fabiola, are your ambitions in the company? What is the end goal? What is the purpose? Like, why do you wake up in the morning and continue to grow, or ambition to grow?
Well, I cannot disclose everything, otherwise the strategy might not work. But
Fair enough.
I would say that our focus is at the moment is increasing our distribution. We know we have a lot of potential, but we have a lot of things to learn and to improve here. So exposing our brand to the world is important. We are doing that. We started doing this more often. Keep growing, keep innovating, and yeah, we are passionate for Caleta. We love what we do, and everyone here, the team is amazing. We are very aligned with what we want to achieve, and also differently from some other startups, we do not want to grow at any cost. Growing is fantastic, as I already mentioned, but um, I'm very honest person. There is pain on the growth path. There
Yeah.
is a lot of pain. So here we value sustainable and healthy growth. So let's see. There's some news coming up, maybe soon.
Interesting. I'll keep an eye open for sure. Uh, I have another question, and what the players see and appreciate at first glance when they play a game that they enjoy is kind of the graphical assets, the how it looks, how it feels, and so on and so forth. But there is another layer behind the game, of course, which is the math behind the game. And I know that you mentioned here earlier in the recording that this is kind of your background, is actually creating the math models themselves. Like, uh, how important are the math models in creating a successful game? And why is it that you find beauty in math?
Since I was very young, I always loved mathematics, and falling to this path of discovering the universe of mathematics in the iGaming industry was a natural progression. But yes, the math models are a very important part of the games. Um, I personally like high volatility games, and and how can you create a unique experience when a player is playing a game? I mean, for me, I can mention like Hacksaw Gaming has some high volatility games, and there was a game called I think Wanted Dead or Wild, something like this. I remember I was playing it about a year ago. I got a massive multiplier. I was betting probably €1 and got 2,000 euros, and then that was okay. This is now my favorite game because it the math model behind it was incredible, and it's all about having a good and unique game experience. And from my perspective, hitting big wins is essential part of it. Yeah, it's all about math models. We have some games that they do not have very nice graphics, art, and animations, but they are one of the games that might perform better than the others that we created several animations and added a spine, etc. Because it's different. I mean, every play is different. So you have to create different kind of math models, the high volatility ones, the medium, the low volatilities, and how can you have one game having more hit hates and another with less hit hates, but much more big wins, massive wins. So it's I mean there's not a it's not easy to I mean there's not a rule you have to be this and this will be a successful game. You have to try, and every game you analyze you can check and analyze the data and see, okay, this game is performing probably is performing well because of this, and then you combine another part of the math from another game that is performing, get bonus, get game mechanics from keynotes, from bingos, and mix all, and it's about creating and doing some um, tests.
Yeah, that
But there's not a um, there's not a formula that you can say, okay, this is what you have to do and the game will perform. No,
Okay.
we are trying to discover it.
That's good to know from the mathematician that there is no formula to a great game. Basically,
Yeah.
it's all in the magic sauce. Uh, you mentioned, Fabiola, obviously that Caleta Gaming is a LatAm focused game studio, and obviously your company is based here. You're Brazilian yourself. And as you also pointed out rightly, how the Latin market is very hot right now. Everyone is looking at Latin America. What are your expectations on the Latin American market in the next few years?
Um, as you know, there's some countries here in LatAm, they already have regulations like Colombia, Argentina, and Peru is about to regulate. And here in Brazil, at the moment, there's a lot of noise about sports betting regulation. And I really believe something will happen. I trust it will be soon. And I expect also the online gaming to be regulated. So, I mean, we all know that Brazil has a huge potential and attracts a lot of attention worldwide from the gaming industry. The market is very, very large, and there will be for sure many opportunities. So, I mean, here in Caleta, we expect to have this regulation very soon. I consider we are very well positioned. We have solid technology and we can offer excellent growth opportunities. We also have Colombia certification. We got the Bahamas license and we expect to have the MGA also very soon. So we are trying to do as much as we can, and uh, uh, we hope to have this regulation very, very soon because the way it is at the moment doesn't is not good for the players. It's not good for the operators, game providers, government
Yeah.
is just not how it should be.
Oh, no, it makes sense. This has been really interesting, Fabiola. We're going to start rounding off here in a little bit, but I have two more questions for you. And the first one is, you've gone through your own founder journey here. Of course, you've been building Caleta Gaming for the last 10 years, and I think through these 10 years of building a company, you learn a lot of things in building a company. So I want to ask you, do you have any perhaps recommendations for young entrepreneurs that are thinking about going on their own journey, that have an idea and they are kind of toying with the idea maybe to leave their company and go on their own? What recommendations do you have for the next generation entrepreneurs?
Um, Focus on what you know, on the skills you have, but don't forget to keep learning and develop the skills you do not have. Um, Try to create an engaging culture. I know it's difficult, but how to recruit and retain talent? Um, what's the best way to give assertive feedback to your team, especially for those who are not performing very well? How to create a welcome environment. I mean, there are many questions, and I cannot answer all of them because every company is different, and you have to find your way. But most of these questions, the answers you will have, you will learn after failing, which is when you understand what you could have been done it different and better. So don't be afraid to fail. I mean, everyone fail.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think he said, like if you fall, you just fall, you just fall to your knees. Like it's not a big fall. You can just get up again. And I
Yes,
like the way of approaching
exactly.
that as well. Yeah. So my final question to you, Fabiola, you mentioned earlier here that one of the games that you really like is one of the games of Hacksaw. But I want to ask you more specifically, like, what is your favorite slot game that is not your own game?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, I really like hacksaw games, and I think that one, Wanted Dead or Wild, is one of my favorites. There's another one, Joker Bomb from Hacksaw as well. That is, I like. It's very funny. There's some volatility on the game as well. Um, Money Train from Relax, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I like as well. There are many games. I mean, but yeah, there's always something new. Let's see. Let's see the next.
Absolutely, absolutely. Fabiola, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on here today for the third edition of the Yolo Uncovered podcast. And like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, it's always great to see you. We are really appreciated of the fact that you always visit our conferences. It's always nice to see you there. And I'm looking forward to see you hopefully in Valletta in June as well. Thank you so much for today.
Likewise. Yes, I will be running again, right? We're gonna have
Yes,
a yes, let's do it.
we'll do it. I'll be there with you. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Thanks, Pierre.